Dr. Praveen. He fondly calls himself, rather he is called in Hyderabad as AIDS Praveen, as he said in the last seminar. And he's a pioneer in AIDS treatment in Hyderabad. He is a Dr. B.K. Bose Memorial Award National Best Teacher Award winner for the year 2005. And he is also the recipient of Dr. Mahendra Singh Memorial National Best Teacher Award for 2014. Sir, Dr. AIDS Praveen sir, please.
Good evening and thanks Dr. Satish, and in fact special thanks to Dr. Asrani sir. In fact, I am just a complimentary to Dr. Asrani sir's lecture. I was going through his lecture and in fact I don't need to talk more, but anyway it is my hobby and a profession and a duty to talk more as a teacher. Anyway, now as Dr. Asrani was telling in the last sentence that meditation, I was just reading that 100 friends went to a restaurant to celebrate and they were all served biryani, Hyderabadi biryani, and just about they were about to start their food, the chef came and it seems he said, I missed one stone. As he was telling, like a lady, homemaker, has to meditate to remove the stones from the rice. So he came, he said, I'm sorry, I missed one stone. Then imagine the plight of these 100 people. Everybody was thinking he would get that stone. So with a lot of apprehension, fear, they have eaten that food and they have completed. Nobody got it. Nobody got it. The chef was asked what happened. I thought I have removed, I would have missed one thing, probably I wouldn't have missed it. Now that is the situation today where we are all feeling today, Ammaya, I am not positive. So I have missed Corona today, tomorrow God knows. That is the scenario, especially for physicians. And there is no excuse for even homeopathic doctors. There are so many homeopathic doctors who are treating COVID patients or even just common people, and you never know who is COVID positive, who is COVID negative. There are quite a number of people who are positive and moving in the society without getting tested. And some of the people, they are testing a little too early and it is coming as negative. So we don't know. That is the scenario. So my point is like, who is the host? Could you, Satish, could you ask, allow me to share my screen? Dr. Satish?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Done.
Done. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So this being the month of birth anniversary of our master, Samuel Hahnemann, we pay respects to our master. And of course, I should not have mentioned it as warm wishes because it is already hot, but yet from GHF and NJH. Okay. Homeo doctor, because he already mentioned physician, heal thyself. So I said, homeo doctor, heal thyself. It is similar to that. If you make this heal thyself, it is healthy self. Make two words together, then it becomes healthy self. We all should be healthy. If you are not healthy, how can you, like, if you are traveling in an aeroplane, the lady says, before you assist somebody, you assist yourself, keep the oxygen mask and then assist somebody. I'm not saying become selfish. As Dr. Asrani rightly showed all that, it is imminent and it is at the doorstep because we are playing with it. So we have to be healthy. we have to be careful. At the same time, we should not shy away from our responsibility for being the physician. We have to definitely be responsible. So that is more important. Now we have to be healthy. If you are not healthy, you can't. Now you can see the quote from Mahatma Gandhi is more important. Physician healing himself. This is very important. I have to heal myself before I heal somebody. As somebody was telling, I am smoking in my chamber and I tell smoking is dangerous and injurious. Please don't smoke. Who will listen? I am sick and I try to treat others. The patient will not have confidence. Don't think that physician, in spite of being sick, he is treating. No, he would first think, why doesn't he treat himself, then treat others? So very important for us. We have to treat ourselves. We have to be careful in dealing with the sickness, because we're dealing with sickness all through our life. Now everybody knows this Doctor's Dilemma by George Bernard Shaw. He wrote one beautiful sentence in it. Doctors die with the same diseases what they profess to cure. Once I happened to deliver a lecture in Aurangabad, and I mentioned this statement, and it said, an ENT surgeon dies with ENT diseases. And I forgot at the time the owner of that homeopathic college is an ENT surgeon. Then he immediately asked, how would you people homeopaths die? This is a very important question for all of us. I said we die with mental diseases because we always say mental symptoms, mental symptoms. Anyway, that apart, so he mentioned rightly so, where he said, George Bernard Shaw, doctors die with the same disease what they profess to cure. One famous cardiologist died with a heart attack. There is no excuse for that. We are human beings first, then doctors. So it could be possible. Very recently, just 3 days back, one of my close friends, Dr. C. Prasad, he was pulmonologist, HOD, Gandhi Medical College, who is now epicenter for all corona patients, succumbed to COVID recently. And do you know the small story here? He was very careful. One day he happened to come near my house and he said, Doctor, if you are there at home, I will come. I have not gone out anywhere since 1 year. This happened just 25 days back. I was in my clinic. I said, Doctor, I'm just coming in 15 minutes. He said, I don't have time. I'll go home. I'll come back again. So that care he was taking for himself. He was 70 years. He was a diabetic, well under control. Everything was perfect, taking care of himself. But he was forced by a corporate hospital to join the hospital on a regular basis because they were losing their DNB admissions. And unfortunately, he was forced to join 1 month back. And 10 days back, he became very sick with corona. He was admitted to ICU and he succumbed. So to prove this statement by Dr. George Bernard Shaw, he died with same disease which he was curing. In fact, he treated many of my relatives and patients. Now, these doctors you know well. In our NJH, we dedicated one webinar from Praful Vijayakar. Unfortunately, the lion of homeopathy, as rightly said by Dr. Rajan Shankaran, he died with corona. Recently, other friend. And he also died with corona. The third photo is of my colleague. He was a professor in our JSPS Government Homeopathic Medical College, Dr. M. Ramana Rao. He succumbed to corona. They were taking care of corona patients there, isolation center and testing center in our college. And he was in charge of that. He had a heart attack earlier. He proved to be positive. He developed a massive heart attack and he died in 3 days' time before he could realize. One Dr. Ashok Kumar from Patna also died recently. There were quite a number of deaths, as Dr. Asrani was also saying, like every week you will be seeing in one or the other WhatsApp groups, Shraddhanjali, Shraddhanjali. What can you do? Many people, why are they dying? It is not because of their carelessness all the time. My friend, of course, with all due respects to my friend Dr. Ramna Rao, he succumbed because he was a little careless. I feel very bad about it. We are all careless. We ignore small signals, warning signals from the nature. Most of the times, 98% of the times, nature will not take away so easily. It will give you a warning signal, beta, ready, raho. But we say, chut bite. So that's how we will be swept off. In fact, I tell you in reverse, Dr. K. Satyanarayana, a famous radiologist in Satya Diagnostic Centers in Hyderabad, one day evening he was having a dinner and he suddenly had a choking, and next day morning he took barium swallow. He found esophageal carcinoma. Imagine, in less than 1 day's time, he diagnosed himself. So after 9 months or so, he came to me. Almost death was imminent. We're very, very seriously situated at that level. So I have also treated him for 4 months and he succumbed. This is not an excuse to tell that even if you diagnose early, you will have the death. Death is compulsory. It is compulsory. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Whoever takes birth on this earth has to die. It is compulsory. But how do we die? What do we do before we die? Have we helped our people, other people? All these things, they are taken into cognizance. So that is what, like Dr. Asrani was mentioning very clearly, where the physician has to take care of himself. Careful. Be careful. Now, there are so many conflicts in the mind of a homeopath. Even I had several times. These conflicts depend on whether that person has entered the profession by chance or by choice. Many a time it is by chance. वो नहीं मिला उसीलिए इसमें आया, वो नहीं मिला उसीलिए होम्योपैथी में ज्वाइन हो गया. So what is happening? The first choice you could not achieve, second you could not, or first you could not have joined as a second choice, something like it is a compromise. So my conflict starts from there because I have not joined the course by a choice. Then of course the level of training in the institute where I have studied. Unfortunately, many institutes in our country lack basic standards. Forget about CCH inspection, all these things. I know I was in and out of these things. So most of you are aware of it also. So the level of training, what it is being taught, I tell you, I went for CCH inspection to an institute and I sat in the last bench. There was an organon class going on and the professor of that college, that class, he was teaching. He wrote the title as second prescription. That was his topic to be discussed on that day. And do you know what was the first sentence he used? He said, I don't believe in second prescription. For me, everything is first prescription. I said, hats off to you, doctor. You are very great. You have accepted. Many of us believe that our first dose has already acted. We all know the definition of second prescription. Is that after one which has acted. So for him, nothing has acted earlier. Leave it aside. sarcasm apart, here this gentleman is teaching some lesson from the organon of which he is not convinced. There is a small story. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was asked by a mother, Swamiji, please tell my son not to eat sweets. He is eating nowadays too many. He said, Mataji, come back after a week. When she came back, he took that boy nearer and he told him, look son, sweets, as mother said, they are not good for your health. Stop it. Then the mother was surprised and she asked, Swamiji, you took 1 week to tell this sentence. Then Swamiji said, even I like sweets. So first I stopped for a week and I got convinced. I practiced. Now I am teaching. So if I have to teach organon, I should be convinced of its strength, capability, its reality. And this gentleman, that is the level of training in the institute. So the conflict in the student comes up from that day when my teacher himself teaches. There is no point in teaching. Then the clinical exposure. I went to another college for CCH inspection. There were 25 beds and all 25 beds were full. Even in our JSPS, quite a number of days, we did not have our 110 beds full. So, but this was full. We went for inspection. All the patients were looking spick and span. Nobody was looking like a patient. I asked one patient, what is your problem? Today morning, I developed severe pain in the left lumbar region. He is telling left lumbar region. And I feel it is kidney stone. So he was trained to talk like that. Such is the pathetic situation of many institutes. So there is no clinical exposure to the students. And if I have not seen the cases being treated successfully by homeopathy, then how can I be convinced of the efficacy of homeopathy? I am not washing the dirty linen in front of the public, but I am just telling you, there are quite a number of institutes, this type of saga continues. So naturally, the student who is coming out of this institute will lack confidence. Then the fourth factor which can cause conflict in the mind of a homeopath is aim and ambition in my life. What I have to. One of the students asked my wife, Dr. Aruna, Madam, she asked question. She is an organon professor. She asked a question. What is third aphorism? Can you tell me? He said, Madam, for heaven's sake, please don't ask aphorisms. I have not mugged it up. Then she said, you should know some of the important aphorisms. I am not asking all of them. No, but Madam, please pass me. I will never come nearer to your homeopathy. My aim is to establish a nursing home in our village, and I will do that. That is my aim. So he is very clear. Why does he want homeopathic degree? Is to put that, as Dr. Asrani in the initial description, he said like MR to DR. He wants that MR to DR. That's it. Later on, his goal, his ambition is fixed. So it depends on that. That makes the conflict in the mind of a homeopath. Then comparison with others. This is there even in allopathic students, MBBS students. I know one of our nephews, he was studying MBBS final year in a very reputed college, and he was telling, Mama, if I pass out just MBBS, I am of no use. I have to do MS, MCH or MD, DM. It will take a lot of time. By that time, my classmate would have already settled. He did his BTech, he is completed, and there was campus interview. He got in Accenture. He's already drawing 60,000 per month. So he is aiming at purchasing a car, a house, all these things. And people would come forward to give him girls. I will be in a desert. I said, this you should have thought before joining the medical course. It is not a bed of roses. Even if there are roses, there are thorns in the pathway. So the comparison is always there. And a homeopath compares with allopathic doctor. It could be. So this comparison causes the conflict. Why did I do it? Why did I? Then pressure from parents and peers. It is always there. Earn, settle, do this, do that, these things. And of course, the greatest thing, the conflict depends on the luck also. I don't need to talk more about the luck. So what are the conflicts? Let us talk about the conflicts. Why am I talking about the conflicts? These conflicts will make the homeopath to think differently than think about himself, think about treatment, think about the patients. Now, the first conflict is to search for a job or not. If you pass out, search for a job. If you don't get a job, okay, establish a practice. The second conflict will be resolved, to practice or not to practice. What will you do other than that? There was one of my students who did transcription course. He joined as a transcription assistant, something like, what for? You will be nowhere. And if I want to practice, where? But of course you have to decide, depends on various factors, and which system to adopt. He tells, I will establish in my town, but homeopathy may not run. I will establish an allopathic nursing home. So there is a conflict. And how will you do? Like a thief. You can't do it openly, allopathic practice. So there, that conflict continues and you can't take care of yourself. And as one point mentioned by Dr. Asani, like the stress, this stress is always there. And if I were to practice homeopathy, whose method of practice to be followed? Synergy, predictive, non-predictive, one dose, double dose, multi-pharmacy. There is a conflict. What to do? You listen to everybody. It looks beautiful. The case presentation is so beautiful. You think this method you have to adapt. But for him to reach this stage, he would have burnt his midnight oil so many nights. That we will forget. We want to jump and follow that man. That is difficult. So, this is another conflict. There is another conflict where even if I were to practice homeopathy, whether I will succeed in practice or not, there are thousands of medicines, lot of difficulty. Even if I repertorize, first drug may not be right drug, because my professor told you always need not prescribe the first choice. You can prescribe second choice, third choice, because he has shown in his cases where he has given the third choice and the patient improved. What to do? These are there for everybody. But you have to establish. Will you get enough money, name and fame? This is there. This question is there for any practitioner, allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda, Unani, naturopathy, anybody. Then should he follow principles of homeopathy by letter and spirit? There was one gentleman who told, an allopathic professor, we were attending medicine classes in that Gandhi Medical College. Then that professor told, look, what I am teaching in the class is different from what I am practicing in my clinic. It was very open. I should appreciate that. You should have guts to talk to 250 students like that. Anyway, no conflict, at least in him. So he quoted Davidson's textbook. What is given there? Principles and practice of medicine. So whoever has got principles, he does not have practice, and vice versa. So I thought I should have practice. So I left the principles in the class and I practice in the clinic. So both, there is no conflict, no clash. They are separate. So that is his approach. But for us homeopaths, I'm telling you with experience, there were quite a number of occasions where I have given jumbled up prescriptions to a patient and I found nowhere to go. I found it difficult to proceed. The patient improves and stands still, improves, stand, all these things. So then I resorted to ask help from my missus, Dr. Aruna. And she tells, why did you change the drug? My anxiety or some other thing? Then she says, this is the right drug you have given. And what Hahnemann told, she takes a class because that was the chance for her. So 5 minutes lecture for me. I have to bear it because I made a mistake. So then I go back to that prescription. Patient automatically improves. So ultimately what we learn that the principles of homeopathy will lead you to success. If you have a conflict, shred it off. No need to have a conflict. Practice homeopathy by principles. You will definitely succeed. And Hahnemann himself mentioned several times what are all the excuses where you can go a little away from this strict pathway and then come back. He showed those things like the disease classification, where to adopt allopathy, where to adopt surgery, not you yourself, just refer. Then if I want to practice homeopathy by following the principles, should I take or advise allopathic medication if needed? How do I do it? There was one of my colleagues earlier, long ago. I went to Yashoda Hospital to see my uncle, and he was seen in the chamber. He was feeling so nervous, and he was feeling ashamed that he was seen in Yashoda Hospital in an allopathic doctor's chamber. I asked, how are you? What happened? Why did you come to my uncle? He said, I never told anybody, please don't tell any of our colleagues. I said, what is your problem? I have CKD, I am on dialysis. So what? Even if I don't tell anyway, I can promise you. But even if somebody comes to know that you are a CKD patient and you are on dialysis, your crown will not fall. Nobody would say that you are not a homeopathic doctor. This is another conflict in our homeopathic doctors. My dear friends, let us not have that. I'm not saying that take allopathic medicine for everything. But Hahnemann himself told in one footnote, I don't try to mention the aphorism, there he mentioned antipathic treatment is essential. You need to do it. If there is a severely dehydrated patient and you need to give fluids, this is part of the treatment. It is mentioned in your Argonaut. You need to give that. And if you are reaching a stage where the maintenance is only needed or a palliation is needed, then you may have to resort to antipathic type of treatment. An allopathic medication may be required or a management is required. Hahnemann himself, for example, in the classification, he mentioned surgical disorders where surgery is essential and it has to be done. There are quite a number of our sisters, mother, or children, or our own relatives or friends, ladies, who would have had hysterectomy. Doesn't mean that they gave up homeopathy and they went to hysterectomy. They would have tried and they would have reached a stage where surgery has become inevitable. So there need not be a conflict where should I take allopathic medicine or should I advise allopathic medication? Hahnemann writes beautifully in lesser writings. Dr. Satish, how much time do I have?
Still 15 minutes, sir.
Sir?
10 minutes, sir. 10 minutes.
Thank you. Okay. So, Hahnemann writes beautifully in lesser writings where an old lady He prescribed and suggested something, and he goes back to that lady later. She becomes very sick. He asks her, what happened? Because he asked her to stop the wine, on which she was completely dependent. If I were to ask Dr. Rama Hariharan to stop coffee, she will stop talking to me, because she is a Tamilian, she depends on coffee. It could be possible. So if somebody is dependent on that, then we need to taper it off. And we need to see how best we can see its damage is minimized, if at all it is causing the damage. Or if, for example, insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus, DM1, you will tell, I will give 1 dose, stop insulin. The fellow will die next day. You can't. So where, when, how an adjuvant therapy or associated allopathic therapy is required, we have to decide and do that. We should first remember that under the sun, all the diseases cannot be treated by one single system. We are not panacea. We can't provide it. Then another conflict, will the homeo preventive work against COVID nowadays later? The latest one. Many of our colleagues have asked, we are prescribing arsenic 30. The other day, Dr. Anil Khurana in KQHDA seminar, he was mentioning, showing all that astonishing results. In our GIMS college also, they have adopted 16 villages, and in those villages, at least for first wave, there were hardly less than 5% of cases. It was successful. Why should we have doubt? As Ramakrishna Paramahamsa rightly puts it, confidence is life, doubt is death. So the moment you doubt yourself, the moment you doubt your system, the moment you think that your medicine cannot work, you are going to die as a doctor. Don't ever have a doubt. Have confidence. The confidence should not exceed. That I tell you. Should we take COVID vaccine or not? Nowadays, this is a big question. To be frank with you, initially I also thought I won't take COVID vaccine. I have taken homeopathic medicine. Then I have calculated. With the second wave approaching, as the cases were increasing, there is a little problem, like Dr. Aruna is dependent on one management. So there is a problem. My one son is a neurosurgery doctor, and other son, there is a lot of pressure on me. I said, I calculated, thought, discussed, then I said, I will go for it. I have taken first dose. After I took first dose, whoever asked me, whether my patient or my relative, I said, take it. Because when I have taken, I have no right to tell somebody not to take it. That is number one. Number two, even we are also propagating that our homeopathic preventive medicine is very, very efficacious. It can prevent to a greater extent. And even if you were to get it, it will be a milder infection. So, we are not telling that 100% it would be successful. Why take a chance? Keeping in view of all these things, I have taken. So we don't need to, my personal opinion, that we don't need to have a conflict. A homeopathic doctor doesn't need to have. And if he is affected by COVID, should he take allopathy or not? One of my gurus, it was a different condition, not a COVID. He was affected with cancer. And he said he would not take any other medicine, only homeopathy, because he was afraid of complications, some serious problem, and he succumbed. So it depends on various stages, whether to take or not to take. It is your personal opinion. But for me, in general, I tell you, if it is inevitable, you can take anything. As I keep telling every day, if allopathy does not work, naturopathy works. Asrani sir, please be careful. I am telling you one greatest statement in the world. If allopathy does not work, naturopathy works. If naturopathy does not work, homeopathy works. If homeopathy does not work, Tirupati works. So, before we go to Tirupati, let us try homeopathy. And if somebody has taken allopathy, doesn't matter. You can take it. It's not there. So the conflict which we have, as Thomas Crum, a world famous person who gives lectures on conflict resolution and stress resolution, he says the quality of our lives depends on not on whether or not we have conflicts. We do have, but on how we respond to them. So we all have conflicts, but resolve them. Analyze each conflict, resolve, and you have to cure yourself. You have to treat the patients. You have to be on the forefront. Here, I take a quotation from Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter. The last verse here, Swadharmo nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. Whoever it may be, whatever might be your profession, stick to your profession. If you are a homeopath, teach, treat, adopt homeopathy only. But it doesn't mean that we don't take the help of other systems. We do take the help of other systems. Have respect for other systems. Tell them it is essential, it is needed. That's very important. As Swami Vivekananda says, like the students, the friends, the young doctors in homeopathy, whoever have got those conflicts, what he said, take risks in your life. If you win, you can lead. If you lose, you can guide. But one important thing here, we have to take a risk initially in our days of practice. There were quite a few days where I did not have one patient, one single patient. So it could happen to everybody, but it will not be there forever. We will establish, we will become good teachers, we will become good practitioners, everybody. So it takes time. The moment mother conceived does not give birth to a child. It takes 9 months. So likewise, everything has got a time cycle. But here, as I was telling, like taking risks should not be foolish. We need not be foolish when we are taking risk. Like there was a case where this doctor has mentioned, he came on media and said, I give homeopathic medicine and I tell everybody not to wear masks. I treat COVID. I cure COVID. He was arrested. His clinic was closed. So what is essential? You can take risk, but be careful and be within the limits and treat yourself, take care of yourself, take care of everybody within your people. So follow the principles of homeopathy, of course, very essential. And here I just show you this man, 87-year-old homeopathic doctor in Chandrapur district of Maharashtra. He is going to villages barefooted with a cycle, with his medical kit, and he is treating even COVID patients or other normal general patients. So he mentioned like nowadays young doctors are only after money. They don't want to serve poor. We need to have this. We should also have the compassion, the feeling for the treatment of others. But of course, as Dr. Rasrani already said, like we have to heal ourselves, treat ourselves, take care of ourselves, and take care. If you don't listen to somebody's good advisors, Murkascha Pascha Panchachinnani, there are 5 qualities for a person to be called as foolish. Garvam, pride. Durvachanam, talking bad words. Paravakyesh vanadana. Krodham, of course, is anger. Drudavachasya means he is jiddi, stubborn, obstinate. Then the 5th one, not listening to others. So don't have those qualities to be called as a fool. Let us learn. This is verse from the Upanishad where we have to have the qualities of goodness and have the qualities of compassion and qualities to take care of ourselves and take care of people around. Of course, he said, now this is for my friends in homeopathy. Arise, awake, uttishtata, jagrata, propya varan nibodhata. That is from Kathopanishad, where Swami Vivekananda is known for this, like arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. What is the goal? Healthy goal. Health for you, health for all. We should. So stay safe, stay healthy, follow SMS, sanitize, mask, social distance. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was very, very inspiring indeed. Really very inspiring. And the journey from allopathy to Tirupati. Sir, we have one question for Asrani sir from Dr. Gayatri. Sir, she's asking, sir, can I do aerobic exercise even if I'm breathless?
Okay. If you are not breathless, that exercise is wasted. But that breathlessness should not give you distress. See, when you pant, no, this is beneficial to your heart. You need to exercise to feel this. That is why we say brisk exercise or the fastest that you can walk.
I assume she's not asthmatic or COPD.
Even if she is asthmatic or COPD, if it is not distressing and it is the best performance she can do, she will improve her asthma and COPD also.
Thank you, sir.
See, even for COVID now, you know, there is a 6-minute test. Let the patient check oxygen, walk for 6 minutes. Oxygen should not drop more than 5%. So again, in no disease, we will say don't walk. Okay.
So we don't have any other questions. So,
What is that ghee or oil, Dr. Satish?
sir.
Ghee or oil? Somebody asked a question for Dr. Asrani.
That question was answered in the break time.
Okay. Sorry.
So there is one question for you, sir, Praveen, sir.
Okay.
What are the medicines for post-COVID vaccination side effects?
Yes, Dr. Tejasvi. In fact, there are quite a number of drugs in our Metro America post-vaccination problems. Vaccinosis, you have like Tuja, Antimtat, Silica, Carcinosin, so many drugs. Even Arsenicum album is also a remedy. So it depends on what symptoms they have developed. For example, my own auntie, after second dose of vaccine, here be careful, Dr. Tejasvi, Dr. Asrani is there, he would agree with me. My own auntie, she took second dose of vaccine and after 3 days, she became very, very weak. She became so weak, after 2 days, she contacted me and she said, her daughter, my cousin, she contacted and said, Mummy is not getting up from the bed. She is not eating. She is getting little nausea and she is very weak. I spoke to her on video and I said, first get your sugar checked. It is 536. So don't blame the vaccine all the time. Be careful. What are the symptoms developing? If they are because of the vaccine, then we have the remedies, as I already mentioned, after effects of vaccination. If there is severe cough, Antimtat is the beautiful remedy. If there are eruptions, it is Silica. If there are so many other problems, Carcinosin could be a drug. So Tuja is also a remedy. It depends.
Thank you, sir. Asrani, sir, you have a question from Dr. Jaslin. What is Correct scoring in CT chest? And what does CT chest scoring 17/25 signify?
Correct.
Okay, I am just sharing the screen. See this. CORADS 1. CORADS is level of suspicion of COVID-19 infection based on CT findings. CORADS 1 has no suspicion. CORADS 2, low suspicion. CT shows abnormalities consistent with infection other than COVID-19. CORADS 3, indeterminate, unclear whether COVID-19 is present or not. CORADS 4, higher probability of COVID, abnormality suspicious for COVID-19. CORADS 5 is very high, and if a person is RT-PCR positive, that person is allotted CORADS 6 without not basing, even if the CT scan is normal, that is CORADS 6.
Praveen sir, you have a question. What is your experience with tuberculinum in post-COVID exhaustion?
Fantastic. In fact, quite a number of cases I have seen post-COVID exhaustion, tuberculinum. And in fact, my missus suggested this, I acknowledge here through the webinar. She said tuberculinum banam, all my family members, they were advised to take, even whether they were affected or not affected, one dose. So we have been giving to many of our patients post-COVID or during this pandemic also. Like I tell you, tuberculinum is the highest degree of changeability, and this virus already highest degree of changeability. That is the greatest similarity you have got between tuberculinum and the coronavirus. So it is wonderful remedy. Dr. Bhushali asked a very beautiful question. Thank you very much. Post-vaccination also can be given, and it can also be fixed as a protocol. In fact, tuberculinum earlier, our Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, they were adopting, even today or even now also, they are adopting Belladonna calcarea tuberculinum for Japanese encephalitis. And in fact, we were discussing the other day in government circle and all these things, where you can have a dose of tuberculinum after the completion of Arsenicum album distribution. That's what we were thinking, how practical it would be. But it is one of the most wonderful remedies at this point of time, which has to be given. Somebody asked Jaslin, why arsenic album was selected as prophylactic by Ministry of Ayush. Dr. Khurana has explained very clearly. His presentation is available. He has mentioned very clearly and how it has been selected. And even today, Arsenicum album, the recent webinar where he was sharing with me in Karnataka Qualified Homeopathic Doctors Association webinar, where he mentioned arsenic is a drug of choice as a preventive. So it can be. Tuberculum 200 can be given, but usually if you read in Allen's keynotes under diphtherinum, the last line, wherein it is clearly mentioned like any other nosode, it works better in 200 or above. So it can be started with 200 or above. It can be.
Thank you, sir.
Bovinum or it doesn't matter. No problem. Any more questions?
No more questions, sir. No more questions, sir.
Good.
There was a question, CT score of 17 upon 25.
Exactly.
See, CT score actually correlates very well with the disease severity. 0 to 8 is, or rather 1 to 8 is mild, 8 to 16 is moderate, and 17 to 25 is severe. So this patient is to be taken as a severe COVID infection and managed accordingly. Of course, this alone should not make a decision. Patient's symptoms, patient's oxygenation, the value of D-dimer, IL-6, all that play a role. It has to be a very combined decision.
Praveen sir, you have one question. Even after taking arsenic, somebody is developing COVID. How?
It cannot be like, we cannot give a guarantee that you take arsenic and you will never develop COVID. It is impossible. There is no drug, no method, no vaccine which can give you 100% protection. So it is possible. How much percentage? That's more important. Like, for example, we have distributed to 43,500 people. And how many people have got? In the first wave, there was 98% success rate. Now with this second wave, that percentage is coming down because the people who have already been given. So now many people are asking me, can we take, please take again. So that is how the percentage is coming down, because they are getting affected. We were not aware that second wave would be so faster and catching up so many people. So it is happening. So it can be. Somebody said like IL-6.
So there is one more question. Role of Basilinum and Camphora 1M.
Camphora 1M advocated by Dr. Rajan Shankaran, and Dr. Vishpala also presented a case with Camphora 1M. So it is useful, but to be frank, I have not used in any case of my clinical practice. It could be one of the best drugs. He has shown in 36 cases in Iran and he prescribed. So we cannot say. Definitely authentic. It could be very useful. Basilinum, somebody was asking the question. If you read in Allen's keynotes, tuberculinum oblique basilinum, both of them are described with few differences between both of them. So we usually adopt tuberculinum because basilinum usually has got organopathic type of prescription most often in our clinical practice. Tuberculinum is a constitutional or at a very miasmatic or a broader level. So we will usually go for that.
Asrani sir, we have one question for you.
Dr.
Please guide-
Jayesh Sangvi, he questioned here, sorry Satish, tuberculum AVR 30 or 1M is amazing as an immunity booster and post-COVID. Fantastic. Thank you, boss.
Asrani sir, at what IL-6 value should we advise hospitalization?
See, I will again say that we cannot advise hospitalization basis IL-6 alone, because now what is happening is with the tremendous workload on labs, lot of false reports are coming out.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
when the COVID first wave, no, we used to teach IL-6 3 times above its upper range. So upper range was 7. So anything above 21 indicates cytokine storm. But now it has said that IL-6 is not a very important test. It should be done only towards 10th day of the disease, not immediately, because cytokine storm comes that time. And now they are saying up to 500. Above 500 IL-6 should be taken as serious. But I would say a patient who's not maintaining oxygen, constantly going to 84, 85. We have tried certain patients, oxygen at home, okay, they become better. So then it is okay. But if oxygen not maintaining, patient altered sensorium, fever not going, these are the parameters which are important for hospitalization. At least if the patient's oxygen is dropping, no, in today's time, I will start telling my patient, start searching for a bed. And if the condition worsens, I will caution the relatives that this can go either way. They should be prepared for what is happening. That is, I think, our biggest duty today, rather than, because beds are just not available. So what I do generally is, I'll take 5 minutes if you give me.
Yes, sir.
First 3 to 5 days of COVID is incubation period when it is asymptomatic. And that is the time the disease is replicating. Then there are 5 to 6 days of symptoms. Then pulmonary phase begins. That is the critical period. So you should do the investigation of D-dimer, CRP, ferritin around the 5th, 6th day, IL-6 on the 10th day, HRCT on the 6th day, and based on the symptom. If the patient worsens despite your treatment, repeat these tests, repeat the HRCT. Do not be very rigid that I will give only homeopathy, because one dead patient on your treatment will mean 5 years your reputation wiped off. And if you are willing to give only homeopathy, then I will say, I will ask you, do you have treatment for pulmonary thromboembolism? Do you have treatment for sepsis? Think of, identify what complications can happen, what can go wrong with the patient. Then you do what decision for yourself, for patient is then different. Secondly, you have to also look, like, my one relative, 70-year-old, known case of chronic kidney disease. Today detected COVID. To be on the safe side, I told him, contact your kidney doctor. Kidney doctor said, I will not treat COVID. So when I told him to contact some other physician, the first appointment available, online consultation 29. So we are giving him a cocktail to prevent complications, which we know can happen everywhere. So I think for yourself, for others, always keep the worst case scenario in your mind and then work towards it. Can you prevent the worst case scenario or not? And I will also like to add one more request here. As you are readily learning newer remedies, newer provings, also take some time to understand the newer guidelines. What is the latest guideline for diagnosing diabetes? What is the latest for hypertension? What is the optimal control? Understand there is nothing borderline. There's no borderline. People who live on border are more at danger. So there's nothing borderline. Okay, I'm done. If there are any questions, yes. I think Fatima asked a question.
A few more questions for you, sir. Does IL-6 and CT score to be considered together for prognosis?
As I just explained this, no, you have to take the whole, like you are homeopaths, no? We treat totality, take totality of the patient. Okay, what if
Fatima
the
is asked,
patient does not want to get admitted? Dr. Fatima, as a doctor, you have to be clear that if you do not want to get admitted, then be prepared for any eventuality and you have to be very clear in these wordings. What to do if the family doesn't want to do RT-PCR with the fear of complete lockdown of the house? Okay, give me a good example I can describe. In my patient, there's one family, 10 people stay in the same room, one room. It's a shop actually. So one lady got positive. She shifted to her son's house. Other 9 did not want to get tested. So in my clinic, I gave instructions that no one from this family is to be allowed in the clinic for 21 days for the safety of our patients. So if people are not doing, we have to stay away from them because I need to save myself ultimately.
Right.
Question.
Should we get done CRB before taking vaccine?
Yes.
No, it will not give any
Yeah.
information.
Jeopard kidney patient.
There are
Young
No
medical
more
students have COVID-19 symptoms. Dr. Saranija, please advise the do and don't. If you have COVID symptoms, no, first is tested and take appropriate treatment. Isolation important. Thinking that if I don't do, see, there are a lot of people who are not doing. Like one patient of mine, his father in Bihar, apparently in Bihar you can't get RT-PCR. So he was telling me, sir, ऐसे ही दवा शुरू कर दीजिए. I said, I will not start. Tomorrow your father becomes critical and you have to go to government hospital. I will be blamed. I started medicine without a test. So we have to be very firm. हम तो आपके patient हैं, okay, but I will not break rules. Because afterward it's going to come and bite me only. And you know, patients, if you do something for a patient, no, they'll come and tell you, but sir, if you had told us no that she will die, we would have gone to hospital. So be very clear in telling people things can go either way. Or I always say, be prepared for eventuality if they understand English. If they don't understand, I tell them, आगे कुछ भी होगा तो तैयार रहना, मुझे मत बोलना. So we have to be very clear. Don't ever give false hopes. My usual dialogue for homeopaths, मैं हूं ना, मैं नहीं हूं. You have to listen to me and take action. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, sir. No
This
more.
is one good question. Where it is, should we get it done CRP before taking vaccine? Especially many people are telling about second dose.
No, not required.
It's a wrong thing. I told many people, but it was like at random. Now it is authenticated from you.
See, understand one thing. I tell my patients, if someday you hear no Dr. Asrani stop practice, it is because of WhatsApp University. Today morning, one message came, and I'm shocked. A doctor forwarded to us. Now that vaccination is beginning, girls should not take on 5
Yes.
days of period. And I immediately wrote on my Facebook, Insta, and Twitter handle that this is fake. Do not believe, do not forward. So people are sitting with idle mind. Lockdown है ना, कुछ करना नहीं है. Just start making messages.
Good. Correct. That is true. There was one question. I just received a phone call from one of the senior doctors. There was one question wherein there is a patient in his house who is antibiotic sensitive to many antibiotics. So if it is so, especially in such type of condition where like corona or any other infections, if there is such, the question is asked to me and you together, both. So where, because that doctor did not know how to type it, so that is the reason why it was asked on the phone. Whether homeopathy can be given simultaneously, if so, what doses, how much gap?
I'll answer with my limited knowledge of homeopathy. You can take, see, understand one thing, the basic physiology. The stomach emptying time is 2.5 hours.
Of course.
In 2.5 hours, वो कलिंगड़ खाएगा तो आधे घंटे बाद पानी पीने का, it's going to mix inside. You can take all homeopathy or allopathy together. Only morphine and steroids should not be taken. Otherwise, there is no risk.
Fantastic.
And
Even I
there
would
are
agree.
people who say alcohol के साथ नहीं लेने का. If your remedy is right and the person takes with a sip of whiskey, the remedy will still work. When I am taking my whiskey, I remember my diabetic medication I take with whiskey.
You
Because
mix
in the stomach, it is going to mix only, no?
No, you mix tablet in your whiskey bottle and take it?
No, I take it like and take a sip. Who's going to waste time for dissolving that?
दोनों भी दवा है, अलग अलग है. हमारे मेडिसिन में वो दवा है, आपके बॉटल में ग्लास में अलग है दवा.
सर पहले से बोलते हैं ना, दवा दारू से ठीक होते हैं हम लोग.
Exactly. I keep telling my patients, as this question has some homeopathic answer also. I keep telling my patients, if they have sensitivity to any allopathic medicine, let them not try that. If some changed drug is being given, that is up to the prerogative of physician who is treating that patient. And I prescribe my medicine according to the available sources, the symptoms are all those things. And I keep telling all my patients to give a gap of 10 to 15 minutes before and after my medicine. I usually insist, but my guru, under whom, like you, he was telling me, Dr. Nabhushan sir, under whom I got trained, he was our principal and additional director also. So he told, अगर अपने दवा में दम है, तो जर्दा पान में रख के दिए तो भी काम करेगा.
बराबर.
So it would definitely act wherever it is given, however it is given, because I have seen in many coma patients, I prescribe, it is given in like Boninghazen's experience in one lesser writing there. So I asked them to apply this dilution on the forehead or on the wrist or somewhere on the skin, and it would act. It has acted. So it can be given along with, without, with all these things. It depends. But I tell you one thing. We have to be confident enough about our own prescription. And how many times, if we introspect ourselves, how many times we are 100% sure of our prescription. This is difficult. So that is the reason why we adopt different types of methods and procedures. Otherwise, you prescribe a dose. I know one great gentleman doctor used to be here, Dr. Bhumanna in Hyderabad. There is a lane named after Dr. Bhumanna. And you know, he used to throw a dose on the face of the patient and say, don't see me again. And it's gone.
Huh?
Forever. So that used to be the way.
Already mango dessert છે એની અંદર થોડી બીજી વધારે નાખું છું mangoes for you
There
and
are-
Nishan.
So there are two more questions.
People also, if the remedy is not right, no, if they're not confident, also make a list of excuses of why it did not work. Did you take garlic with the medicine? If that is the principle, Jain community should respond best to the medicine, no?
Those are different gimmicks in the initial days of practice, but nowadays we don't waste time. We introspect, we say we have failed somewhere in our
I
prescription.
think as a doctor, that is our biggest achievement if we can say that, oh, I failed in this case. Because that learning you will never forget in your life.
We have failed in umpteen number of cases. Umpteen, day in and day out. every day.
After all, we are not Bhagwan, no?
We can't.
We can't.
We can't be also. Oh my God. So somebody asked, what is the use of doing antibody test after vaccination?
Yeah. Fatima.
Antibiotic test.
Antibody. What is the use of doing antibody test after vaccination?
No, there is no use. Don't do.
Waste of money.
The vaccine gives you neutralizing antibodies and tests do not pick it up. If you have suffered from COVID, that antibody will get measured. After vaccine, don't fall prey to the scams which are going on.
If patient is due for second dose of vaccine and become positive, then he should go for second dose.
Okay, so suppose from the day he is diagnosed, day 1, 15 days of isolation, 15 more days.
So after a month,
After a month from that, and of course, depending on what was the due date also.
do you fall into the trap of that discussion where Covaxin is good, Covishield is good?
You know, I always make one-liners. I tell people, ये गुरुद्वारे का लंगर है, जो मिलता है खा लो. We are beggars, we can't choose.
Exactly. In fact, both of them are good. Whatever is available, you can take. My sambandhi was in USA and he was telling Pfizer is available. What do? I said jump and take it. Don't worry.
And
Pfizer
all those people who were deciding no, now are waiting because there is no stock.
Whatever is available now, they are ready to take.
Just take.
So there is one more question. Asymptomatic high D-dimer value, what intervention is needed?
First intervention is repeat from a good lab and confirm.
Good. Fantastic. So before we wind up, Dr. Satish,
Yes, sir.
I have a nasty question to every viewer. What is the most important sexually transmitted disorder? You asked me, you told me I am AIDS Praveen. So my thought process would be like that only, right? This is the last question from speaker himself. So we all know it is life. Thank you everyone.
Good one,
No,
sir.
but sir, you said disorder. Life is not a disorder.
Life is a disorder from the day one. Otherwise, WHO wouldn't have said like nobody is healthy. We are all disordered.
Okay, Brushali asked a question. After COVID positive, do we need both doses or only one jab will do? I will give you a counter question. Would 2 attacks of COVID bypass the vaccine? No. You will still require 2 jabs. आपको कोविड होके आप महान नहीं बन गए.
come again. There are quite a number of cases where second attack has come to many of my patients.
Yeah.
It is there. It is possible. So preferable.
See, that COVID can be described in one synonym: uncertainty.
Exactly.
Anybody who says, no, I can teach COVID. Now, I'll give you one very living example. I took a talk for family physicians for COVID day before yesterday, and I found out a guideline of 28th December 2020, which says that inhaled steroids can worsen the disease. Now, 3.5 months later, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi, has come out that
Yes.
it can help. So what I'm saying is, medicine is changing overnight. As a practicing doctor, and to save yourself, you should be updating the guidelines.
Asymptomatic COVID cases approach drugs in allopathy or homeopathy. That should be asked because both of us are here.
Asymptomatic from my side, zinc, vitamin C and monitoring. होम्योपैथी तो फीस लेके दे दो कुछ भी आप.
Now, of course, till recent times, the season here in Hyderabad was like Bryonia. Quite a number of cases we have treated with Bryonia. Excepting 3 days where it rained, so we have given Rustox. So it depends on the season, because when you don't have anything, depend on the season. Or the best possible thing, if the fellow comes in contact with you on video, then you can try to assess his constitution. And as it has rightly said, constitutional medicine is the right choice if you can click on. Asymptomatic, you may not have symptoms, but you will have qualities to assess your constitution. Right? So you can definitely make out. Right? Shall we call it a day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir. No more questions. So, team, meet you after 15 days. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my sir.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.
It was,
Thank you.
Praveen ji, it was nice discussing things with you and all of the lovely NGH team. Thank you very much.
It is my pleasure, in fact, to compliment you, your presentation. Thank you very much.
I am humbled.
Thank you both from
Thank you,
NGH
Asrani
side.
sir. Thank you, Praveen sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you
It is
very much.
always the information, overflow, and so openly you are giving it to us. So it's like heartfelt gratitude for that. And
Thank
I
you
guess
very much. Thank you,
COVID
Vishal.
is such a topic that we can